Attention bobsled riders! You will soon be embarking on a thrilling podcast down the icy slopes of the Matterhorn, so please remain seated, keeping your hands, arms, feet, and legs inside the bobsled at all times. Auf Wiedersehen!
Hello, Yodlers! We are the Matterhorn Yodlers. I am your host, Jackie, and we have...
Peter.
And...
Japheth.
And today, we are going to be talking, jumping on a plane, and going to Disney World.
Woohoo! Disney World!
And it's not going to cost you $10,000.
Yeah, it will.
Eventually. In real life, but not on this podcast.
Yes.
This podcast.
This one's brought to you for free.
That's
Sponsored
right.
by free.
That's right.
And so, we are going to be talking about Disney World resorts. A lot of questions I get often when people are planning a trip to Disney World is, where should I stay? Is it worth staying on property?
It's like
Is
asking, which ride should I ride?
I
It's
know,
like,
it's like-
there's so many choices, right?
I know, it's like, it even goes with the same question. It's like, well, what's better, Disneyland, Disney World? It's like, well, it varies on the type of vacation you want to have. So,
Yeah.
you know, if you want to have that, be in the park open to close, well, this resort will probably be more up your alley. If you want to just be I want to chill out at the pool, maybe go to the park for a few hours and then come back and
Yeah.
relax. It's going to vary from guest to guest.
Yeah, the needs of the guests. Or
So take our opinions with a grain of salt, because this is from our own perspectives. I have my own perspective as to why I would pick the resorts I would pick, but you would have completely different ones that are
Mine are sponsored by Disney World. I've got a side,
Oh, you have a
while we're
side?
doing research.
Oh, so now your own.
They're-
You work for Disney. I'm missing out.
Yeah, they've pocketed me you need to promote this one and this one. So mine's not my perspective.
Okay.
I've sold my perspective.
They're giving you secret codes.
I'm in communications with them.
You're secretly sponsored and you're not telling us.
You're secretly sponsored, but yet we're not getting any money.
Well, we're not.
You're
Oh.
not. I am. No, I'm not. Mine is, like Peter says, it's our own perspective based on our experiences.
So we are going to go into the different types of Disney World resorts, give our thoughts, and kind of a brief overview of what those resorts are. Now, when I was working at Disney World and I got transferred to work in front desk, I had a 2-week-long process training in classroom.
Training or brainwash?
Brainwashing. Great brainwashing. So one of the classes that we had to take was just an overview of resorts, of the different classifications, why people choose it, and so for the first one, so Disney has 3 to 4, 5 categories for Disney resorts. The
I was only aware of 3. All right, we're going into more here. Okay.
I only saw 3 on the
Well,
website.
Right.
So there is value, moderate, deluxe villas, and then of course
Yeah.
there's DVC.
Okay.
Gotcha.
All right.
All right, I understand now. All right.
And then there's also club status, which that's a whole different
We
category.
go into. Do you know much about Vacation Club?
I know a little bit.
Okay.
So we can go a little bit into it. It's been a while, so
Yeah, I'm kind of curious.
Yeah, I'd like to hear your perspective on that.
yeah. So first topic. So the first one category, which is value, which is probably the most affordable.
We would like to say cheap, but it's still pretty expensive for a
But
hotel.
for what you get,
It's pretty good.
I think you're not too disappointed.
No.
So value resort price range. Now this is an estimate price range. This may change during the time of the season you go to during. If you're going around Christmas time, it's probably going to be double.
Ooh.
But so value is a range from $120 to $250 a night. And so
what is the like cardboard value level like where they give you a cardboard box and you're on Disney property? What's the price of that? Because that's where my price range is.
well, there's the campsite grounds, which is actually less than the 120. That's like you can get a campsite around $100.
So if you're okay going to Disney, sleeping in a tent, you can get pretty
smelling
cheap.
like campfire.
you can stay pretty cheap on Disney property.
It's so funny because we were taking like a tour around the campsite grounds, and there's a whole section of like the tents, and it just looks like homeless people.
Just the sea of tents.
Yes.
I would say, like, if I saw that, I'd probably think of like a concert. You know how you see like the sea of concert. Yeah.
So we'll go in a little bit more of that. But what a value resort is, it's gonna have a pool. No slides. So it's just like a standard pool, but there's some fun themed pools. These are pretty fun.
They've got like giant characters or musical instruments.
I would say
or
this:
sports kind of theming.
If you would picture yourself like with a young family, like, and you're saying we're gonna stay at a Disney resort, your kids are gonna be most excited with these value resorts because they're very pleasing to their eyes. They've got giant cartoon characters everywhere. They're themed to different Disney movies. Yeah. So, like, these resorts are going to be the ones that your kids are going to be most excited about.
And they're going to think it's the, like, coolest thing ever. Because it's not like your Holiday Inn. It's Disney, like, infused Holiday
Inn what you
without
would
the continental breakfast.
It's what you would think a Disney hotel would look like.
Yeah. Right. And so also at the value resorts, you've got quick service. So there's no sit-down restaurants, just, like, grab and go. Window, food court style. You've got transportation to the park.
Which is huge.
Yes. And then you enter the room from the outside. So there's no...
It's not an indoor hotel.
Hallways, yeah. Yes. Indoor hallways are not there.
So the type of value resorts that are under this category, it is... Disney All-Star Movies, Disney All-Star Music, Disney All-Star Sports. You've got Disney Art of Animation, Disney Pop Century, and Campsite at Disney Fort Wilderness Resort. So the All-Star Resorts, those are Hollywood Studios?
No, Animal Kingdom.
Okay.
They're closer to Animal Kingdom.
Yeah. Yes.
And they're all right next to each other. All three of those all-star resorts is 1, 2, 3.
You can
right next to each other.
walk to each of them.
I wouldn't recommend it. It's quite a walk, but you could walk to each resort.
And then you've got Disney Art of Animation, Disney.
That's the newest one.
Yes.
That one opened up when I was there, and I never got a chance to look at it.
It's really cool.
I thought all the stuff that they showed, it looked really cool.
And then so Disney so the All-Star Resorts, music, movie, sports, it's pretty self-explanatory. So it's themed after music instruments, sport games, or
Disney characters.
Characters.
A variety of different Disney properties that were popular at that time.
Yeah,
when it was built.
And some of the things like I saw, they had like arcades, and they have a playground and a jogging trail for those that are like, you know what, I don't walk enough in the park. I want to go running.
I want to go jogging.
I want to go jogging.
I need some jogging before I go walk 5 miles in the park.
Yeah, it's one of those. Like, oh, okay.
Like, and some of, like, for example, in the All-Star Sports, they have, like, a giant, like, foosball, like, table area where you're, like, walking
It's like Honey, I Shrunk the Kids, but at my resort.
Yes. And so, like Peter had said, it's great for kids. Great, lots of running around, really fun, like, picture opportunities. Out of the value resorts, Japheth, which one would you choose to stay at?
I would say Art of Animation because I haven't been there and it's the newest one and it looked really cool when they were showing it. But if it wasn't that one, I would probably do the movie one because I got a little kid and they would identify. I think Peter nailed it, right on the head of the nail that kids really want to see something that they recognize, and that would be the one that they really recognize.
Absolutely.
Peter?
So for me, my perspective, and you're going to see a very common theme. Mine is going to be more, because like when I go to Disney World, I'm going to go for the theme park. So like I'm less concerned about amenities. Okay, so I'm looking for convenience and cost effectiveness. So we were like at one point in time we were talking about going to Disney World, and we even talked about staying at the All-Star Movies Resort. But if I had to pick one of those, I would honestly pick Pop Century. Pop Century or Art of Animation for the main reason of the gondola system. You got that transportation to and from not only the Hollywood studios, but also Epcot, as well as other resorts that if you want to go eat at some of the different resorts, because
the Swan and Dolphin, do they have access to that there?
Not from the gondola, but you can take a gondola to the central station and take a boat or whatnot, there's ways you can get there. But like there's a lot of different resorts and a lot of great different restaurants from these more upscale resorts that you have access to while staying at a fairly priced Disney hotel.
Yeah. Pop Century, I would say, is a very popular...
Popular.
Did you stay there? Did I get you guys a room there?
No, I've never stayed at Pop.
No, we stayed at Music.
We stayed at Music.
Yeah,
that's
Dad wanted Music.
Okay, so that's what I set you guys.
I've only stayed at All Star Sports.
Ooh, I'm
because it
sorry.
was cheapest.
No.
Well, I needed to get on the Magical Express.
So you can go home.
So I could go home from the college program.
So if you're in the college program, make your last night there and you don't have to pay a taxi or make a friend with somebody who has a car.
Right.
Yeah.
I had to make a friend. I had a friend.
I was the friend that drove many people to the airport from the college program.
Yeah. So, I would say for me, Art of Animation, just because it is really fun. You've got different themes. You've got Cars Land theme. You've got Little Mermaid, and you have Finding Nemo. And
what? Mighty Ducks isn't modern enough for you?
You're talking about the cartoon.
Yeah.
And so those three sections, and it's really well designed.
They are.
You have like a giant Crush figure that is like on his back. It looks like he's falling on you if you're right under him. And in the Finding Nemo section, so they have 3 pools at that resort. In the Finding Nemo section, if you go underwater, you can hear Nemo.
Oh,
that's fun.
They're pumping music in there.
Yeah, they're pumping
voices.
music under the water and
under the sea.
Under the sea?
Under the sea.
Oh.
Now, something to point out for Art of Animation, it is the higher price.
It is.
Of the
value resorts. Art of Animation is kind of on that border of moderate.
Yeah.
But it is not a moderate, and I'll go into why. But the main reason why people want to stay at values is those type of guests are open to close at the parks.
Yeah, they're there for parks business.
That's me.
That's it.
Your priority is
give me a bed,
parks.
give me a bus, let's do the parks.
Right.
Yes. You're open to close, you come home, you just want to sleep. You wake up in the morning, grab something to go, and jump on the bus or the gondolas or whatnot. So
yeah,
that is the purpose of the value resort. It is for that type of family, that type of experience. So now we'll go into moderate. Now, moderate resort, this is for the family or guest experience that will spend probably I don't know, 60-70% of your time in the park, but maybe have a pool day or leave the park early, take a nap kind of experience.
Also,
I like that
families
idea.
families that have teenagers that don't necessarily want to stay at the resort that has a giant Dalmatian dog on it. Like they want to stay, at a little nicer place.
Yep. I agree.
And also so moderate pricing is anywhere from $250 a night to about $450. And so what that gives you is you get a pool. You get all the same things that you get with a value resort. So you get a pool, you get like a quick service dining location, you have transportation to and from the parks, you still enter outside into your room with one exception, but I'll get into that. What's additional is there's a slide at the pool. Usually there's like there can be a small splash pad at some of them, and there's a sit-down restaurant. So where you need reservations, and usually it's like an hour plus of your time. Those resorts are Disney Caribbean Beach Resort, Coronado Springs, Port Orleans French Quarter, Port Orleans Riverside, and the cabins at Disney Fort Wilderness Resort. So I've been to all of the resorts, and I've stayed at some. So Disney Caribbean Beach, I used to work there. Very familiar with it.
I hope so.
They actually just did a remodel, so where
Yeah.
I used to work doesn't exist anymore.
Good. They bulldozed
They
it down.
bulldozed my shoebox. Oh, I miss that shoebox.
Yeah, it's amazing. I used to be in that closet next to the shooting range and the dumping station for trash for my break room for the tiki room. And sometimes I just get a whiff of trash and I'm going, oh, tiki room.
Yeah, that moment, because the Caribbean Beach, like bell service day when I worked there, you would have a window for the bellman to come up, and then you have this like half door for guests to come up, and then you also have like your phones and your computer in there. And you can't leave the bell stand if you're the only one in there. And I just remember one experience where I had bellman yelling at me in one window, gals yelling at me at another, phones going off the hook, and I'm like, this is fun. I love this. Okay, so as far as resorts, Caribbean Beach, it's very beautiful. Coronado Springs, that's where it's a lot of conventions. A lot of
They
people.
do have the convention center because with CPs they would have like their big dance parties.
Oh, not anymore.
Well,
I don't think.
Well,
Oh, maybe
they did for
do.
us. They had like a winter formal.
Oh, I guess they do that there.
Or like they would like have the kind of it was almost like CP prom.
Yeah.
I remember that, except ours was at, I forgot which one of the dorms that they had. It was actually at one of those places. We didn't actually have it on Disney property.
Oh, it was huge. It was like going to a high school.
Well,
event.
back in my day, budgets I guess weren't quite there.
I had to work all those like events, so I never got to go to them.
I did a really nice event at the MGM Studios. They did a big like award ceremony on Sunset Boulevard, and yeah, it was really cool. That was cool, but I did nothing cool with my college program.
Yeah.
That's for sure.
So the Coronado Springs does have a newer building, newer expansion, I would say, where it is a indoor hotel. The reason why they built that was because they had executives and CEO people that were staying at deluxe resorts during conventions and had to bus over, and so they needed a building there for those that wanted to be on the same property as their employees or
to be among the people.
Yes.
Yes.
So that is a exception of entering a room on the outside. But if you book a room at Coronado Springs, you will most likely be at the outside ones.
Probably, unless you specifically ask and pay for the indoor one.
Yes. And then you've got, of course, the French Quarter, Riverside. That's connected to Disney Springs. That's a Disney Springs.
I did visit that one.
I've been there.
I stayed at Riverside. So in these moderate hotels, they have special theme rooms. So like in Riverside, they have like a princess theme room. In Caribbean Beach, they have a pirates theme room. I don't know. I think they have a special theme for Coronado. I could be wrong though. So, but as far as Peter, what is your pick for a moderate?
I went Caribbean. I went Caribbean for a very similar reason. Because again, I want to be in the park. And guess what? There's the gondola station that takes you to the Hollywood Studios and Epcot. Easy access to do different theme parks. Even easier access than Pop Century and Art of Animation because it's one less gondola ride you have to take. That's kind of like the hub resort for the gondola system. So yeah, it's a very convenient thing, and again, you still have access to all of those other resorts along the way. So yeah, it's very similar. I mean, I'm not too familiar with the amenities because again, that's not important to me. It's more about getting me to where I need to go.
It's very pretty. It's probably one of the prettiest moderate resorts, I would say. As far as landscaping, you've got a huge, like, bay kind of pond. I don't know what the right term is.
Call it a pond.
A pond, a lake. The property is about 300 acres.
Whoa.
It's a big...
It is very big. That is one of the critiques I've heard about it is that, like, you will check in and you have to, like, hike your way to the other side.
Well, they have a bus transportation for each section. So, generally...
So, you have to get on a bus to get to your hotel room. Then, to get back to where the buses that take you to where you need to go, you have to take another bus. And it's like... It is very large. It is a very big resort.
It's a big resort, but now that they moved the lobby to the center...
They alleviated some of that.
That helped a lot.
That's good.
Makes sense.
All right, J5th.
I picked Port Orleans, the French Quarter, and it's purely on theming. I thought it was pretty when I visited. I've been to New Orleans. I like that, and I like some of the amenities that they have there. They have their pool. They have the painting on the bayou, where it's instructor led, and you could do a beignet fun run. You do a 1.5 miles, and at the end, you get a little beignet. And let's see, they have like horse-drawn carriages, rides, and then they have movies under the stars. But the movies under the stars are at each park. You can do a Cajun campfire. You can do bike and Surrey rentals, fishing, jogging, playgrounds, and there's an arcade. The arcades are like they're probably in every I think resort. I like some of the restaurants, which they're all temporarily closed. They have, like, what is it called? The Sasagula Float Works and Food Factory, Cajun Creole food. I mean, you're talking about Southern Classic Barbecue, ribeye. They call it sustainable fish. It's all like, oh, okay. I don't know what I'm eating. It's whatever they think is whatever they caught. It's there.
Right.
Fried chicken. They've got the po' boys, gumbo, jambalaya. It's just food that like we don't. There's not a lot of New Orleans like Southern food restaurants unless it's like through a chain restaurant where we're from. So I kind of want kind of that Disney flair of it, that Southern cuisine. And they've got like a Scat Cat club where they got swing and jazz and full service bar, and then there's a pool bar with sandwiches and stuff. It just, if I was going for the amenities, like you said, if I'm 70% in the parks, I would probably want to go there just because they have kind of like just relaxing things and fun experience there.
And it's nice because you can easily jump on a boat, go to Disney Springs.
Yeah.
There's a funny thing though, because like, when you're dealing with Disney, a lot of these moderates and when you get to deluxes, they have themes and there's backstories behind them. that resort has one of the weirdest and most elaborate backstories. Like, I watched this video about them, like, reading the backstory, and it literally took them, like, 30 minutes just to read. They've got different characters and people, and this building has this backstory. It has one of the craziest, most elaborate backstories that nobody has ever heard before. And it's just kind of fun that, like, they have all
The
this
manager went
incorporated.
above and beyond, and
Nobody
has paid
cares.
attention. You're like, I like New Orleans.
So I would recommend any of our audience to go and look up the backstory to the Port Orleans resort, because like it is like elaborate and it's funny.
So for my pick, I had a hard time choosing. Caribbean Beach Resort was a factor, and the Fort Wilderness Cabins. Cabins, of course, are a little bit more expensive. They're on the higher range for the
But it was
moderate.
nice. When we stayed there, that was nice.
The nice. So I'll go into what the cabins are. The cabins are, it's basically your own separate cabins, not connected to any rooms. You are across the bay of Magic Kingdom. So you just a boat right away to Magic Kingdom, and then if you want
You avoid the ferries.
Yes.
Avoid the fights on the ferries.
Avoid the fights on the ferries, that's right. And so that's the nice factor is it's an easy place to stay to be away from people.
Yeah.
And so
It's a good break from the rest of your trip where you're around a ton of people.
And you also have a full kitchen
You do.
in your cabin. So in the cabin, you get like a queen size bed, 2 bunk beds, one bunk bed,
One bunk bed and a queen mattress.
and then a pull out bed.
Yeah.
In the living room. It's tight quarters. It's a tight quarters for like if you have like 5 people.
We had 5 people, and it was
5 adults
with one bathroom. You know,
Yes.
you're really trying to cycle through, and then like you're like, well, I gotta make it to the bathroom before this person. And I gotta take a shower here, and you know, I gotta do. Yeah, there was a lot of early mornings trying to get ready.
We're used to that.
Yeah.
We grew up in a household with one bathroom.
Fortunately, my wife, who was my girlfriend at the time, was not used to that. So she was like, we're going to the parks till midnight, and she's having to wake up at 5 so she can make it into the bathroom so she can get her makeup on so she looks good for the pictures. And she was like, well, that was an experience.
Yes. So, it has its cons, but it's also really nice. So another, like, I would say con about it is it's away from everything. So if you don't have a car, it's a little bit more difficult. Of course, they have bus
You
transportation.
take the little boats.
Yep.
Mom and Dad used to take the boat, and then they take the bus system.
Yeah. So you take the bus systems to all the other parks. You can take the boat to Magic Kingdom, jump on the monorail to go to Epcot if you want that. And then to get to like the headquarters where all the food is, you generally had to jump on a bus unless you were close by.
And then back when we went, the Hoop-Dee-Doo review was there, and that was like the fun show.
Yes.
That was a lot of fun. They don't have that anymore.
And then Caribbean Beach Resort for me, love it. I used to work there. It's very beautiful. It's a great place to like walk around at sunset.
Which is funny you say that, because when I worked there, it had like the worst reputation amongst the moderates.
Oh,
but
I
then
believe that.
when they were putting in like the gondolas and all that stuff, they were like, okay, we need to invest in this because more people are going to want to stay here.
No, yeah, they invested a lot of money into that resort, and I think it turned out well. And it's a great place. It's quiet too. It's because it's so big. There's not a lot of people around, and so you can.
So I should bring my screaming toddler.
Yeah, bring your screaming toddler. So, between I have a hard time choosing those two, but I thought both of those are great resorts. I would say.
So you can take the campground because I took the Caribbean.
Yeah.
There we go.
I'll say the cabins again. Those were nice.
They were nice. Okay, so now we've got deluxe.
Now, let's get our pinkies out as we drink our tea, as we go to these deluxe resorts.
Oh no, mine's got a little umbrella in my drink.
You have an umbrella. That's right.
You got an umbrella in my drink.
So, deluxe, this is, you've got all the same amenities with the previous resorts, right?
Yep.
You've got all the quick service, you've got to sit down, you've got to slide at your pool. Now you've got a fine dining location or a bar lounge,
Yep.
like a specialized bar lounge, or a dinner show.
Yep.
And so the pricing, it's a bit expensive.
Once in a lifetime for some people.
What did one poor person say to the other poor person?
Who
cares?
It is, if you're lucky, starting at $450 plus. There's no cap. It's plus because you can get a room for $1,000 a night easily.
So make a friend that works at Disney World and they can give you a discount so you can stay in a place. That's the only reason why I stayed in a nice resort.
It's true. Same for me. It was the only reason was because we got the employee discount, and during slow season, the prices were semi-reasonable.
It's like, I'll spend 4 paychecks to stay at the CB.
Yes. And that was for one night. So what you get where the locations are Disney Animal Kingdom Lodge, Disney Beach Club Resort, Disney Boardwalk Inn, Disney Contemporary Resort, the Grand Floridian, Polynesian Village, Wilderness Lodge, Yacht Club Resort, and Disney Riviera.
And I'd throw in the Swan and Dolphin resorts. They're not Disney,
yes,
but they would be considered.
I think they're Hyatt. I think they're... Are they
Marriott.
Marriott?
Yeah.
Marriott.
Okay, they're Marriott. Okay.
But that would be considered.
It would be considered, yes.
But it's not Disney. It's on Disney property, but it's not a Disney
And
resort.
you can see it in different theme parks. Like, there are very large hotels.
Yes, and some of
It's
the...
like in the dead center of the entire resort.
Yeah.
And there's a whole history behind it, and Michael Eisner was not happy about it. We'll put it that way. He made a deal, and it didn't turn out that way. It got him so mad that he wanted to build, like, a giant Mickey Mouse hotel. Like, giant, classic 3-circle, giant tower Mickey hotel right next door. Like...
Oh, Michael.
Yeah, that was an interesting time period when they agreed to that.
So, some of the big differences is most of these rooms you enter from the inside. They have gorgeous lobbies.
Yep.
All of them
have
beautiful lobbies. They have
well themed.
They have a lot of additional free resort activities.
Yep.
You definitely, when you visit some of these hotels, especially if you're not of a certain standard of living, you visit some of these resorts and you feel out of place. When you just walk into the lobby, you're like, I shouldn't be here.
Not mine. I know how to fit right into my resort. We'll get into that.
Your resort. We'll get into that. How why that's why it's a high end resort, and it's mostly just because of its location.
Of course, location is critical.
And the primary of what also makes these resorts deluxe is the location of them. Many of them are walking distance from a park.
Or they
or
have
transportation.
Or a direct transportation.
Or they have a really cool perk.
Yes. So, Japheth, why don't you go ahead and start us with your pick?
If you have been a fan of the podcast, you would know my pick in advance. It is the Polynesian. Yeah. I love this resort. So much so than, the one podcast where we said, would you rather, what was it?
Free tickets
or stay in the resort. Yeah, go to Disney World for a day and then stay at the resort of your choice. And I was like, I'll stay at the resort. I could skip a week's worth of staying in the parks for staying at this resort. I love this resort so much. The Polynesian Villa and Bungalows, it's so nice. It's so relaxing. You walk in the lobby. There's a waterfall. It's just, you got the Hawaiian theme. It's just, if I want to relax, that is the place. And I really enjoy it. They have the recreations. You get to see the electrical water pageant, late at night. You got motorboat rentals, campfires. You can do fishing, volleyball. There's a jogging path. I've been on the jogging path. I've walked it. You can walk to the Grand Floridian.
Well, now you can go to the Magic Kingdom now.
They've connected that pathway there. Okay. And then they've got pools. They've got the lava pool, the towering volcano with a 142-foot long water slide, kind of a beach slope entry into the pool. So I was like, every time I was there, I was like, this is so nice. I never stayed there. I would have loved to. The amenities out there, they have an in-house gift shop. They have parking. The parking. So if you do stay there, you do have to pay for your parking if you drive there. It's $25 a day. It's like, ooh. As a cast member, you get free parking. So I would always come in and use my park ID to get me in and just park my vehicle there. It was kind of nice. It was kind of my inside way. If I was going to the parks, I'd avoid the main parking and I would just park at the Polynesian.
You just have to say you have a resort if it's a reservation if it's busy.
Oh, yeah. You would always be like, oh, I've got a reservation. My family's coming to town. Oh, okay. Yes, I lied. I lied.
All cast members do.
What? Our cast members do things they're not supposed to?
We did, yes. Cast members behaving badly. This is one of those rules where everyone does it. Everyone lies when going to resort. Yeah. I've got family staying there.
I'm just getting a drink at the bar.
Yeah. I'm going to I have a reservation at this restaurant. You just got to know that.
Well, now they check.
I know, but before they didn't have that system.
Well, even our dad got away with free parking when we went in '92.
Oh,
when he
at the Contemporary?
At the Floridian.
Because we went and stayed there. Not stayed there, but we would go to the little and we watched the water pageant.
Well, he would say that we had dinner reservations or something like that.
And there was no way of checking back then.
No.
Back then, no.
Not in the 90s. Now that's all all right, let's check. Nope, no you don't. Get out. It's because they know people abuse that system.
Yep, I did. Okay, so going back to what I was saying, you got a mail service. You probably were part of this, where someone can bring you a letter and you can have a package. You can actually
front desk.
Front desk, yeah. You got transportation to the airport. This is at all resorts, really. They have barbecue grilled areas, and one of the favorite things I liked was, and you don't have to be a guest or staying there, is you can watch the fireworks show from the beach, and they pipe in the music to the fireworks show. And to see the fireworks with the castle you see how grand these fireworks shows are, and it's just so great. And you don't have to deal with the hot, smelly crowds. You watch it on the beach, and then you get in your vehicle and you go home. Or you go into your room and you're done. And so that's what I really liked about going there. And then there's the restaurants. They're just amazing. Captain Cook, pulled pork nachos.
It's great restaurants.
Oh, gosh.
Oh, so good.
And then you have you can get the pineapple lane. They have the Dole Whip snacks there.
Yep.
Don't have to go into Magic Kingdom.
Dole
Whip there. Kona Cafe. It's kind of like your continental cuisine with sushi bar. And then you have Ohana, which is all you can eat buffet with Polynesian food.
Tongue and toast.
It's just so good. I mean, it's just like Brazilian steakhouse or Argentine steakhouses. It's like that, but Polynesian style, and they just keep feeding you and feeding you. So, yeah, you're gonna pay $50, but you are so happy with all that food. And then you have the great show, the Spirit of Aloha dinner show. We went to that, and that was
it's cool.
So cool. And it's the same thing. That's all you can eat buffet, but they do the traditional shows, and that's kind of what Disney wanted, was you can come here and experience the cultures without having to go all the way out there, so you get a taste of everything while going to the parks. And I love this park. I love this resort. I would definitely stay there. So I'm done.
All right, Peter.
Well, I'll say this. The only reason why Polynesian isn't considered a moderate is just because it's right next to the Magic Kingdom.
Yeah, but they also have some villas that are on the water that make it next level suites that you're just not going to get in other resorts.
Because the rooms are okay rooms.
Yeah.
Most of the hotels inside the rooms, you're it's okay.
So I went back and forth when picking mine. I decided to go with, for at least from my experience, at least when I was working there 15 years ago. Many moons ago when I worked there. This was considered probably the highest end resort, and that was the Yacht Club.
Ooh, the Yacht Club.
Get your big coat on.
Yes, we're going on the Yacht Club.
Let's get our monocles on. Do you have your proper deck shoes?
So, like, it's a very relaxing resort. It's not that big. It's not that big.
No.
It tends to be combined with the beach club as well. They kind of sit right next to each other, so a lot of people just call it Yacht and Beach Club. So they're both. It's about this. It's basically the same resort, just different names. Its location is literally like right outside of Epcot, so like you can literally walk to Epcot or right next door to the gondola station. There's a theme with mine.
Gondolas.
They're all the gondolas, man. That line of hotels, those resorts, like any one of those, I'm all down for. The other one I was on board for would have been the boardwalk, because I love the boardwalk. I've spent many nights walking up and down that boardwalk, because they got street performers, they got their...
well, they did.
They did. Well, be optimistic.
You would see magicians. Like, again, I picked Port Orleans and all the restaurants are like, they're all closed.
We'll be optimistic. They'll make their return one day, whether it's under Chapek or somebody else. They'll come back eventually. But, I just love that whole area right next to Epcot is very beautiful. The Yacht Club, at least from when I was there, my understanding is that they had the best pool. On property.
So the Yacht and Beach Club pool, it's a combined pool, and it is classified and coded as a water park.
Wow.
Yes.
That level.
Because it's so big. So there's actual sand area in the pool, and they've got a few slides, and they've got like a little like lazy river. It's really cool. It's one of my bucket list items to go to the water park.
And like even when I was there, like we were talking about earlier how like cast members would try to sneak in. This was one, like even when I was there, they were like they made sure nobody got into this pool unless you were from that resort.
Yeah, you have to have a wristband. Most other pools, it's pretty easy to sneak into.
Yes, this one, no. Like you needed to stay at the resort to have fun at this pool.
Mm-hmm.
Leave it to the CPs to ruin something.
Or
it wasn't.
Or like DVC guests or anything. Yeah.
Oh yeah. So yeah, it's a very nice, and again it sits at this in front of this little mini lake river area where you've got boats. So you've got lots of modes of transportation. You can take boats, you can take gondola, you got Epcot, which is right next to the monorail station, which you can go...
Take to Animal Kingdom.
No.
No?
Not Animal Kingdom. No.
Oh, man.
No, just to the Magic
I
Kingdom.
swear I took the monorail.
So, it's a great location. You have ease of access to 3 different theme parks, relatively. So yeah, that's what I would pick. I know it's the most expensive one.
If you're going,
probably.
we're playing
If
in
it's
the
free,
World.
I'm staying at the Yacht Club.
No, Yacht Club is definitely one of I would love to stay there. Just to do the pool and the convenience of it to Epcot. So if you're drinking around the world, any of those boardwalk, Yacht Club, Beach Club resorts are great because you could just walk from Epcot.
Or stumble.
Or stumble.
There's probably a lot of that.
Get a wheelchair.
So for me, I'm picking, can you guess? Animal Kingdom. I used to work there. I loved it. Surprise,
That's good
surprise.
that you would stay where you
Yes.
you worked.
And it's funny because I'm not a huge animal person. Like, animals are cool from a distance.
I noticed that. You were clubbing baby seals before we started this podcast.
Stop.
You were like, die!
Stop.
Get off my property!
She's the real Cruella. It's like, this will make my couch feel wonderful.
What is this, baby seal? Oh, yes, it is!
It was so funny. So, when I worked at Caribbean Beach, there, you can sometimes, like, your managers will put together, like, these service opportunities, and one of them, all the CPs wanted to go, like, volunteer at a shelter, like a dog and cat shelter, and there was, like, me and, like, 2 other people that were just, like, we keep our distance from animals, right? So we went, but, like, to help. But then
You're picking weeds in the front of the building. I'm
but
not going in there.
when it came time to like play, we were just like, we saw it, we just sat to the side, like, so we're classified as animal haters, which is not true.
That should be our next merchandise shirt.
Animal
Jackie
hater.
Animal Haters. But I love Animal Kingdom. I'm sorry.
So yes, we were classified as like animal haters, which is so funny because I don't hate animals. I just keep my distance.
That's what animal haters would say, Jackie.
No.
One cannot claim their own sanity,
I do not-
Jackie.
I do not have a burn book of animals.
All right, Animal
Okay,
Kingdom. Let's pull it
so
back.
let me wrap it up. Okay, so when I got my transfer from Caribbean Beach to Animal Kingdom, everyone thought that was hilarious because they're like, oh, the one person who doesn't care for animals is now at Animal Kingdom Lodge. But I'm glad I did because I grew to love animals there. But so Animal Kingdom Lodge, it is far. It is distance from
Parks.
parks.
Like,
There's-
technically, it's close to Animal Kingdom, but you still have to take a bus, and it's not really that close.
You have to take a bus. There's no other transportation. I would have guests go and say, oh, I'll just walk to Animal Kingdom. I go, sir, you can't walk there. There's no walking path. And they're like, can I just walk through the savannah? I was like, no, sir, you cannot walk through the savannah.
The savannah isn't connected.
There's cheetahs in there.
So, and the main reason why there's no good, like, walking path or other type of transportation is because Animal Kingdom Lodge has its own savannah, which is connected to Animal Kingdom Park Savannah, which
You're right.
that's where the animals stay. And so we don't want guests going into their home and their area.
Because then, like, you'll have the poachers in there, and they'll be like, Simba 1, Simba 1, poachers.
It's one of those things, like, they always talk about how Animal Kingdom is the biggest Disney park, and it's all like, yeah, but if you look at where guests can actually go, it's actually not that big.
Yeah.
Most of that's all animal-only section of the park, so.
Yes. And so, but what's great about Animal Kingdom Lodge, so there's 2 parts. There's Animal Kingdom Lodge, and then there's Kandani Village, which is the DVC area. It is a beautiful lobby. It is probably one of the top beautiful lobbies in the...
It's a great lobby.
It is.
It's got that similar, like, A-frame kind of design. There's a lot of, like, symbolisms. And then also, Animal Kingdom Lodge has one of the largest, like, African artifacts
Yes.
displayed.
I watched it, not like randomly on one of the YouTube channels I watch. They released like random Disney specials that had been on TV in the past, and they had one of these Samantha Brown travel great hotels episodes, and they did the Animal Kingdom Lodge, and I learned some things. She talked about how like they have like this special mask that, you know, is a very important artifact.
When you put it on your face.
It turns
It
you
turns you
into
all
the man.
green.
It turns you all green. No.
Jim Carrey comes out.
Right. No, it's like this special like ritual mask that was gifted to Disney from the tribe, and like Disney's the only place outside of this tribe to have this mask and things like that. And I was like, oh, okay. That's
It's probably like
interesting.
one of the kids made it.
Right.
You know, like, here, you can have it.
Right.
Disney's like, oh, thank you.
Oh, wow. We're going to sell copies of this for $800 a piece.
Now, Animal Kingdom, there's a lot of rooms, and it's very big.
It is a big resort.
It is all you enter from the inside, which means you have to walk a long way. So sometimes it could be like almost a mile walk if you're at one of the farther rooms. But one of the perks of Animal Kingdom Lodge is you can have a Savannah View room.
That is basically the main perk of staying at the resort.
It is a main perk where you can wake up, you open your balcony, and there's giraffes or okapis or zebras, and it's just
What's
so
an okapi
fun.
look like again?
It's like a...
Like a gazelle?
Yeah, like a deer or
Okay.
kind of...
I'm just curious, though. Like, I'm trying to visualize what you're saying.
So it's beautiful, it's great, and then also one of the other features that I really like about it, Animal Kingdom Lodge has one of like the most like activities you can do for free at the resorts when you're staying there. So when we check us in and stuff, we give them like a schedule of all the different activities, and so it's a great learning opportunity. So one of them is like you can play African drums, and we have different people that work there that are generally from Africa or knowledgeable.
You guys all say jumbo, right? Jumbo!
And they will teach you about the culture and the history and different things like playing drums or different things about the animals, so which is really cool. At night, you can do night vision goggles with the animals. And this is all free, and it's great for, most people don't go up there, like, if you're not staying there, but anybody can go and experience these things.
Oh, cool.
And then you can do different activities at certain times and get certain beads and create, like, a little, like, beaded string, and it's just fun. You still have your, like, movies and campfires. Those are all still there. But
Definitely a resort for those people that want to be in the resort more than they would necessarily want to be in the park.
And that's what Deluxe is. That's where most of your time is going to be spent at the resort or 50-50.
I would say that 50-50 is probably good.
So, yes, there's a con of it's farther away from the resort.
But if that's what you want.
But if that's what you want.
Also,
nice.
you need to be aware, not all rooms are Savannah rooms.
It's true.
That you need to be aware of that because...
Some have parking lot view.
That's right. So, like, if you want to see the Animal Kingdom, great. If you want to see the animals, make sure you get a Savannah room, which those are a little bit more.
And when you are looking on the Disney site and you see Animal Kingdom Lodge, usually the initial price capture to, like, get you in is lower than compared to all the other deluxe resorts because of the parking lot view, because those are usually in the 400 range, and then Savannah View's in that 500, 600 range.
So it's not to say that you don't have access to the Savannah, you just don't have it from your room.
You're not going to have a giraffe eating at your porch or anything like that.
Well, they don't do that anymore, but now there are some rooms. It's a secret.
Secrets.
We're moving in closer.
We gotta know the secret.
There are some rooms that can be a partial Savannah View that you don't have to pay for the full Savannah View. So you have to be really nice to your cast members.
Okay.
You know, when you hand them your room key, there's a monetary value to that.
No, there's not.
Do not bribe your cast members. They can't accept it.
They can't accept it.
Wink.
They won't get fired. No, so that's really nice. And then one of my favorite things when I worked there, so it was so funny. At Caribbean Beach, I always got the late shifts, and then at Animal Kingdom, I always got the early morning shifts.
Yeah, you're taking the bus at 3 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah, I had to get the bus at 3 in the morning to get a 5 in the morning shift.
Ugh.
It's a lonely bus. but it's better than that like
Well,
9 o'clock bus at
wasn't
Epcot
even a
where
bus.
every international's jammed into one.
It wasn't even a bus, it was a van.
Yeah, those early morning
The
ones.
early
Because I remember
ones.
I had to do those whenever I had to open for MGM, which wasn't very often, but if I was in charge of like opening procedure.
MGM, what's that?
The MGM Studios, the Hollywood Studios. Hey, mode.
So I would generally get the morning shifts, and one of my favorite things would do is like right when my shift started. I mean, no one's in the lobby; it's dead. You're the only CP with one other cast member, like at the front desk, and I would go to the window around like 5:30ish or so. And that's when they let the animals out into the savannah, and you just see all the giraffes and zebras running in.
Cool.
And it's just the coolest experience because the sun is rising, and all the like baby giraffes and zebras are at Animal Kingdom Lodge. So all the babies are there, and so you see all the little baby zebras and the baby giraffes,
Aww.
and it just makes your heart melt.
You don't hate animals.
Don't.
As you sit in your zebra print. No.
It's purple.
That's even rarer.
The purple zebras.
They ran out of ink.
I am biased. I love Animal Kingdom Lodge. Of course, there's the great, Grand Floridian, Wilderness Lodge, Yacht, Riviera, which is one of the newest resorts. But those are the things. We'll go. There's also 2 other categories, but there's like the deluxe villas, which those are like cabins on water and tree houses and very
Even posher than the posh.
Yeah.
it's
Places.
very expensive.
Basically, you're getting an apartment.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it is. You're basically in an apartment. You've got the DVC rooms, which is like Saratoga Springs.
Bayside.
Yeah, Bay
Contemporary.
Lake Tower,
Yeah.
which is the contemporary. So those are just like DVC rooms, which you can buy and rent. You can buy DVC rooms on Disney. Another factor is you can also buy DVC points from DVC members
Yeah.
last minute, which can be a cheaper option for
Yeah.
a larger
Because they got to
room.
use up their points or they lose them, so they
Yes.
sell them so they can at least get their money back to pay back Disney.
Now there is a disclaimer, though it's not guaranteed. Be careful if you do that. I prefer if you do that, go through a company that manages those points.
Like the ones off of the 192 and Kissimmee.
No. There are certain websites that are approved and verified, but
Use a vacation planner.
yeah, use a vacation planner.
They're free. Like, if they charge you money, there's free options that will do it for you. No problem.
Yeah. Don't buy points directly from a person unless you know them personally.
Because I've got some points. If you want to buy some points,
Just give me your debit card
give me your
information.
debit card.
I'm a Nigerian prince.
Now, when you
You
buy
are?
when you buy someone else's DVC points, you do not get the same amenities that if you were a DVC member.
Correct.
So you don't have access to the DVC lounge at the resorts or their family centers, even though you are using DVC points.
So, Disney Vacation Club.
Yes.
Yeah,
So there's a lot
And
of...
those that don't know, Disney Vacation Club is Disney timeshares.
Yeah.
Yes.
For those that may not know.
Now we'll go just briefly into pros and cons of staying off property. Pros, it's cheap.
It's cheaper.
Way cheaper.
Way cheaper. I mean, us growing up as a family, when we went to Disney World, we stayed off property.
Yeah, we would rent like an apartment,
Yeah.
and we'd rent a car to come in, and
So basically, like, when you're dealing with that, like, conundrum as to, like, what you want to do, stay off property, stay on property, you basically are deciding what you want to spend more money on. If you stay on property, you're going to spend less money
Convenience.
on transportation.
yeah, the convenience.
When you stay off property, you're spending less money on your hotel.
Yeah.
but you spend more on transportation because you have to rent a car and you have to pay for parking every day. So like you have to weigh your options as to like where you want to spend your money and your time.
And also, if you plan on going to Universal, which is really popular for a lot of guests,
Which is just down the road.
which is just down the road, Disney doesn't provide transportation.
Nope.
No.
I would always get that. How do I get to Harry Potter Land? Get a taxi and go to Universal.
It would be funny as working at front desk, I would have some guests and be like, I order a transportation to the land that shall not be named. And I was like, it's fine. We can talk about our cousin that we don't like.
The one that steals from us.
Yes. So you definitely can get transportation. You just have to schedule it.
Yeah, you just have to wait because some people like to go to like Busch Gardens in Tampa Bay, which is just an hour away, or Legoland.
That whole, like Central Florida has become it's a giant tourist destination, and like Disney knows, they're not the only ones in town. So
there are a lot of hotels,
but there's a lot of options. You can get your ride shares, your Ubers,
Airbnb.
Yep.
I've stayed in people's like homes with Airbnbs with events and stuff like that, and so those options are there.
It's just you have to weigh out your options as to what's more important to you. Is it about the dollar? Is it about transportation? Is it about convenience? Like you just have to figure out what's important to you when you decide to go on a Disney World vacation.
And just a disclaimer, driving to the parks, it's a minimum of 20 minutes.
Right.
Yes.
So you're going to be going 45 minutes, 20 minutes to get on property. Even if you get a resort that's like right next to downtown Disney, it'll still take you 20 minutes to get to Magic Kingdom.
It's a Disney World is a huge piece of property. It's massive.
Yeah.
And traffic can be bad on Florida.
Yeah, if you don't know what you're doing, which most of you don't, and living there and dealing with you, when people are like, oh, it's a Disney World sign, let me stop in the middle of the road where it's going 50 miles an hour, and people are driving to work going, oh my gosh, and they're just driving around, and I'm like, they just stopped in the middle of the road, and they have signs that go, do not stop, and they have even flashing lights, do not stop, and people still stop because they made it to Disney World, and they see the big, giant Walt Disney World sign in the middle of nowhere.
They want to park and
take a picture.
The picture, yeah.
It's like, ah!
Right. Yeah, and that's why when I was making my suggestions, my focus was ease of access so that I don't have to use so much bus transportation. That gondola system and the monorails, like that will save you a lot of time and effort if that's what's important to you on your trip.
And if you're interested in a shirt that Peter's selling, it's gondolas.
Gondolas!
Are you a spokesperson?
Never crashes.
Oh, I don't have any sponsorship.
I didn't make a deal with Disney. Maybe the company that sells the gondolas to Disney.
Now, we'll wrap it up with one last question. If you're planning a trip, let's say this year, and you're paying money, full price, all of that, are you saying off property or are you saying on property? Peter?
I would say, for me, on property.
I'm kind of mixed because I would probably stay on property, but I'd also get a rental car because there's family and friends that I would go visit. Again, I've lived there, was there for 3 years. So, I mean, I would end up going to Miami and go up the coast. And so, but if I'm going to be at Disney World, I'm going to stay on property. Even with a car, I would do it.
Same. I'd stay on property. I am not a fan of driving it in places that I'm not familiar with, and the stress of that just gives me anxiety.
And
so
I know Disney's ending their deal for their Magical Express. That's ending, so your free transportation to and from the airport is going away. But the company that was doing it, they did release their prices, and for family of 4, it's about like $120 round trip, which honestly isn't that bad.
That's good.
Considering a rental car will run you probably close to like $500-$600.
Yeah.
So
And they are building like a monorail system, like a train system.
They
between
are
the
building a
airport
train system.
When that will be
They're still
done.
trying to work out like
Yeah.
where the stop is gonna be. Disney's obviously really pushing for the Disney Springs stop.
Of course.
But but that's not going to happen for another probably good 5 years.
Yeah.
We're a bit of a ways from that, from coming about. So don't if you're
Don't plan
like,
your trips on that.
Yeah.
Yeah, but there are options. There's Uber, there's Lyft.
Yes.
As a factor. A lot of people, when I worked in Bell Service, and I would help with the Magical Express, they prefer to just do a taxi or Uber or Lyft, because with Magical Express, you had to, if you were flying international, you had to be we had to schedule your bus ride 4 hours prior to your flight and 3 hours domestic. And people are like, that's way too long. I don't
Because
need
you're
that
chilling
much
at the
time.
airport for how long?
Yeah.
Yes.
So a lot of people prefer just
And
doing
you
that.
get to and from your hotel, like from the airport to your resort, a lot quicker because, and you get on that bus, you stop at every resort along the way, and depending on what resort you stay at, you could be the last one off the bus, or you could be the first one. It's really a random shot as to.
So there's definitely pros and cons with Magical Express, so that's another factor why they may be getting rid of it. So, but that is all the time. We've discussed a lot about resorts. Let us know what your pick is. If you're going to go stay at Disney World, what are your picks?
And why?
And why? Yeah, we want to hear. We haven't stayed at every single resort, so we don't know all of the great bonuses and nice features that they offer. So let us know. Or if you're like, heck no, not paying those prices, I'm staying off property. There are great themed Airbnbs and condos and hotels. So
There are some amazing resorts that you could stay at for the price of. You could stay at like a deluxe villa, type of resort for moderate prices.
Yep.
So so you gotta weigh your options, and feel free to contact a Disney travel agency.
Yes.
That would be another recommendation. Because again, most of the certified ones, they'll do it for free.
Yeah, because it's free because they get
their perks from
they get
Disney.
commissions from travel agent. So let us know. We're on Instagram, we're on Facebook, we're on YouTube. You can send us a message on our Anchor page. You can also email us at matterhornyoders@gmail.com. But thanks for joining us and have a magical day.
Thank you for joining us on this week's episode of the Matterhorn Yodelers. Please remember, before your bobsled comes to a complete stop, to follow us on Facebook and Instagram. And remember,
Remain seated, please. Permanecer sentados, por favor.